coming up on OU Nightly. A winter storm will bring widespread snow chances to the state later on this weekend.
The fate of a former president's place on voters' ballots. The latest arguments from the Supreme Court. And OU softball kicks off their season today in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The start of their national title journey. This is OU Nightly.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Melina Samir.
And I'm Darian Curry. It's been cloudy with a chance of sun this week, but it looks like we may see snowfall this weekend. Let's turn it over to OU Nightly meteorologist Braden Seo, who is live on the South Oval for our first look at our forecast.
Thanks, ladies. Yeah, there is a chance for some snow this weekend, but first we're dealing with beautiful skies out here, warm temperatures. It is a little bit breezy, and when you combine that gusty wind with this low humidity that we're talking about across a large portion of the state, we've got an elevated risk for fire danger across portions of western and central Oklahoma, even extending up into northeastern Oklahoma. And whenever we talk about this winter storm coming up later in the show, I'll have more details on that, snow totals, as well as mild temperatures returning as we head into next week. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Braden. Tonight, we're watching the Supreme Court as they decide whether states can ban former President Donald Trump from their ballot.
OU Nightly's Noah Mack is live in the newsroom to recap today's oral arguments. Noah?
Well, oral arguments lasted for over 2 hours, and the justices seem inclined to rule in Trump's favor. This case comes out of Colorado, where the state Supreme Court ruled that Trump could be taken off the ballot. Their rationale is the 14th Amendment prohibits an officer of the United States to hold office again if they engaged in an insurrection. The Colorado Supreme Court ruled that Trump did participate in an insurrection on January 6 of 2021. But the U.S. Supreme Court seems hesitant to uphold that ruling. One of the court's primary concerns was if individual states have the authority to decide whether or not a candidate can appear on a national ballot. Another is whether Congress should act before states invoke a constitutional amendment. Meanwhile, Trump is still determined in his bid for president, maintaining a heavy lead in the GOP primaries. He's expected to win all the delegates from tonight's caucus in Nevada. Melina, Darian?
Thanks, Noah. The president will not face charges after investigators say he had classified documents at his Delaware home after leaving office. OU Nightly's Sophia Cabrera has that and the rest of today's national headlines from the News Center.
The special counsel report states President Joe Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified national security information. The counsel finds that Biden kept documents in a personal notebook from his days as the vice president, similar to the classified documents that former President Donald Trump kept at Mar-a-Lago. However, Biden will not face any charges and handed them over when asked. In Southern California, 5 U.S. Marines have been found dead after a helicopter crash. The Marines were on a training flight Tuesday night, flying from Las Vegas to San Diego in heavy snow and rain. According to San Diego officials, the helicopter was found 30 miles east of their station in a remote area. The cause of the crash is under investigation. And the Federal Communications Commission has outlawed robocalls containing AI-generated voices. The ruling comes after AI was used to clone voices such as President Joe Biden's to call voters in efforts of discouraging them from voting in last month's First in the Nation's primary. Effective immediately, the law will allow the FCC to fine companies that use AI in their calls. Call recipients can also sue violators. Darian, Melina?
Thanks, Sophia. A multi-county grand jury charges 3 men following claims that Swadley's Barbecue defrauded the state. Prosecutors accuse Swadley's Foggy Bottom Kitchen for knowingly presenting fake invoices to the state tourism department. The men, including Swadley's Barbecue's owner, are charged with 6 felonies.
OU is 5 months away from officially becoming an SEC school. However, more than just sport competitions are going to change. OU Nightly's Snow Forth tells us how leaving the Big 12 is going to impact the city of Norman.
With OU transitioning into the SEC this July, Norman is going to see some economic changes. We spoke with some local leaders to discuss what Norman citizens can expect.
To me, it's odd that just by transitioning from one conference to the other, that it would have that big of an impact. But for whatever reason, it does. When you look at it, the SEC is the largest, the most lucrative conference that's out there. They have the highest TV contracts, they generate the most profitability. So I think that's the driving component to this.
Martin says Norman will have to go through some growing pains to meet the demands of OU being in the conference. However, he believes the move will help the community in the long run.
We're going to see a lot more people coming in town, staying in our hotels, eating in our restaurants, shopping at our stores, which will then just drive the overall economic impact that this transition is going to have for our community.
He and his team visited 3 other SEC cities, Fayetteville, Lexington, and Tuscaloosa, to understand how they manage the economic effects of the conference. However, these anticipated changes spark financial concerns for some students.
Like our sorority dues are starting to go up, which is kind of like, I'm super excited to join the SEC and kind of become a part of an SEC sorority, but knowing that that's going to increase makes me a little nervous for how I'm going to afford it next year.
Rent is a huge one for me because, like, you know, tuition's already expensive, and like now I have to pay more in rent. Like, it's just another stressor that like we're all dealing with right now.
Though there may be lots of changes coming in the next few months, Martin says the city is prepared to start the transition. Snow 4th, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Snow. OU will officially join the SEC July 1st. Days after an Oklahoman country music star passes away, doctors discuss his type of cancer.
What they say you can do to reduce your risk next.
And a warning for Trader Joe's shoppers after rocks are found in their food.
What you need to throw out of your freezers after the break. Days after the death of country music star Toby Keith, doctors discuss the risk of stomach cancer. OU Nightly's Julia Roberts has this in today's Health Beat.
Thanks, Darian. Stomach cancer is fairly uncommon in the U.S., but doctors say you're at an average risk for the disease. The American Cancer Society says early stages of stomach cancer rarely causes symptoms. You can reduce risk by having a healthy body weight and diet, not smoking, and avoiding or limiting alcohol. But some risk factors like family health history can't be avoided. And a public health alert this evening: if you have frozen chicken peel-off bags, it's time to toss them. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that Trader Joe's 14-ounce packages of Trader Joe's chicken, lentil, and caramelized onion peel-off may contain rocks. One person has suffered a dental injury, but this is not a recall because the product is no longer being sold. Researchers are concerned about certain products that can contain a chemical causing premature births. Scientists say the chemical can disrupt how the placenta functions, which can trigger premature births. The study of the connection between premature births and chemicals began in 2018. They say this study could explain the rise in premature babies born in the U.S. And doctors say flu season is not over. CDC data shows more than 82,000 people who went to the ER were diagnosed with the flu during last week of January. Melina, Darian.
Thanks, Julia. Fans pay tribute to country music star Toby Keith at the last Oklahoma stage he played at.
How Oklahomans are raising one last red solo cup in his honor after this.
And a winter storm will bring widespread snowfall totals. I'll let you know the timing and how much coming up on OU Nightly. Welcome back to OU Nightly. It's currently a beautiful day outside. We've got temperatures in those 60s. The winds are a bit gusty, and that, along with this low dew point, is helping to fuel some threat of some fire danger. And we'll take a closer look at those dew points across the state. You can see widespread dew points in the 20s and 30s across much of the state, even some single digits up in the Panhandle. And these wind gusts are quite strong out there, 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Norman over the last hour. So it is quite gusty outside. And future humidity looks like it's not going to get much better. You can see that humidity rises tonight, but once again tomorrow we're talking about humidity values dipping down into the teens and around 20% here in the Oklahoma City metro. And you can see moisture returns as we head into the day on Saturday, and that's why through the rest of the evening we have this elevated fire risk across much of western and central Oklahoma, even extending up into portions of northeastern Oklahoma. And tomorrow that risk is suppressed to the west of the I-35 corridor, places like Enid, Elk City, Lawton, all included in that elevated fire danger risk. Now, switching gears a little bit, we're going to be talking about a pretty significant winter storm coming up later this weekend. You can see by Friday afternoon we have a few showers trying to get going here across the Red River Valley down towards the Texas border. That moves northeastward across eastern Oklahoma through the day on Friday. You can see temperatures then start to dip down into those 40s, and that's why whenever this precipitation starts to move into the state on Saturday, some of it starts to change over to snow, and you can see that across western Oklahoma. By Sunday morning, we're talking about heavy snow here across I-40 from Elk City, Clinton, Weatherford. All of those areas will likely be seeing pretty heavy snowfall rates Sunday morning, and that continues to expand to the east into the Oklahoma City metro area on Sunday afternoon and evening, and you can see that clears out as we head into Monday morning. Snowfall totals, these could change, but this is the current thinking. We're talking about a swath here of 4 to 8 inches from Elk City to Woodward over to Enid. This again could change, but here in the Oklahoma City metro area, the forecast is a bit tricky because it's going to depend on where that heavier snowfall band stands. But right now we're looking at 2 to 4 inches across the Oklahoma City metro, 1 to 2 inches farther south, and then lesser amounts as you head farther to the southeast. Current temperatures across the southern plains are in the 60s and 70s. Closer to home across Oklahoma, we're talking about 60s here in the Oklahoma City metro, some 70s off to the east, and then a closer look here, we're sitting at 68 in Norman and 67 in Guthrie. Lows tonight will dip down into the mid-40s here in the Oklahoma City metro. We've got some 30s creeping into the state up in the Panhandle. 60s return again tomorrow, some 70s out towards eastern Oklahoma. And the 7-day forecast shows that we've got this big weather maker coming into the state on Sunday. Some heavy snowfall is likely across portions of Oklahoma, and then more mild temperatures start to return as we head into next week.
Thanks, Braden. So do you think we should worry about the roads at all if the snowfall comes?
It's a little too early to say. It will depend on how cool the ground temperatures get, how much accumulation we could see, especially on the roadways.
So don't completely pack up all your winter gear.
Oh yeah, you're definitely going to need your winter gear this weekend.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you for letting us know. It's been a somber past couple of days at Hollywood Corners as fans are mourning the loss of their superstar idol. OU Nightly's Hallie Moss was there to get some of their reactions.
Slowly, they're coming. Fans are beginning to shower the stage Toby Keith frequented with flowers and OU memorabilia. Emotions are high as fans like Cindy reminisce on their favorite performer.
It's just so sad. I'm going to cry myself now. It's just to see him up on the stage. He's done so much for the whole town, the state, really, but OU.
Toby revitalized this 1920s gas station in Northwest Norman in 2016. Mayor of Etowah, Oklahoma, James Bachman, was invited to one of those first shows.
And they had this place, they were busing people from Lloyd Noble Center. They had buses where they brought, people could park there, bus over here because there wasn't enough parking here. So I held the door for Barry Switzer, you know. He was out here. A lot of people you'd recognize were here. And Toby's just doing a benefit show just in his own backyard.
The small town bar was also the scene of his last Oklahoma performance in July.
He shows up, and this place, you couldn't park anywhere. So up and down both sides of the road, cars parked, and the whole infield here was full of people, and he said there were people sitting on the roof watching the performance. And so he puts on a free show here. He does 3 hours straight. And then he comes back and does it again 2 nights in a row. And that's when he knew he could play Vegas. He could do the shows out there, which he booked 3 in a row on. And, the rest is history.
raising a red solo cup from Hollywood Corners. Hallie Moss, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Hallie. Hollywood Corners is still urging fans to stop by and fill the stage with flowers and love.
As the NBA trade deadline comes to a close, former Sooner finds a change of pace in the league.
OU Nightly's Emily LeBeth has more in sports.
The Diamond is heating up south of the border as the three-time national champions begin their quest for a four-peat. And we have a first look at the chaos brewing with the OU baseball squad. Next in sports. Hi, I'm Emily LeBeth, and it's time for sports. The wait is finally over for one of Oklahoma's most decorated teams. OU softball is swinging into action today in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. This Sooners softball team has some fresh faces, and they made a name for themselves. True freshman Cassidy Pickering knocked a grand slam in her first collegiate at-bat versus Utah Valley. OU snagged the 13-0 run roll win and moved on to play Duke. Pitcher Kelly Maxwell also had a stellar Sooner debut, retiring 11 straight before the fifth. OU wins 3-0. Moving from Gasso's girls to Jenny B's bunch, OU women's basketball took on the Toads of TCU. The Sooners only had a 4-point lead at the half, but unhitched the wagon and outscored TCU 41-28 in the second half to get their 7th straight dub. Jenny Bronchek says that her team has continued to build their chemistry.
You got to learn each other's games and you got to learn each other's strengths, and that took us a long time to be able to do, and I think we're starting to really see that and put each other in good positions. You can tell this team has not peaked, and this team has a long way to go, and we still have to grow, we still have to mature a little bit.
Going back to the Diamond, OU baseball is preparing for their 2024 season on the red dirt. OU Nightly reporter Addison Arthur has more on the Sooners' plan for success.
Just a little over a week before OU baseball kicks off their season, and there's a lot of excitement about new and returning players. And looking ahead, they do have some tough opponents on their schedule. But for head coach Skip Johnson, it's not just about how many games his team can win.
My goal really is to really build relationships. Do I want to win national championships? Absolutely. I came here to win national championships, but it's really to build relationships because they last forever. That's what it's about.
In building relationships is exactly what Coach Skip Johnson has been known for in the past. Him and his team will pack up and head to Globe Life Field for their first game on February 16th. Reporting from Airedale Mitchell Park, Addison Arthur, OU Nightly.
The best in the West is adding a veteran to the rest of their young roster. The Thunder is finalizing a trade with the Hornets to get Gordon Hayward. OKC does not have a player with more than 5 years of NBA experience, whereas Hayward has 3 times that amount. In other trade deadline news, former Sooner and Pacers sharpshooter Buddy Hield will pack his bags and head east to play for the Philadelphia 76ers. The Pacers will receive 2 players, 3 future draft picks, and cash in the deal. Melina, Darian.
Thanks, Emily. Look out for a new design this summer from Paris, how it relates to the 2024 Olympics,
and how this design pays homage to its host city. Up next.
I'm Kamarion Brown at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Today, the court entered former Cleveland County Deputy Vaughn Cannon into a plea of not guilty. Cannon is accused of killing his wife, Jordan Pyle, also a Cleveland County deputy. Investigators say Cannon shot Pyle 12 times. The trial date is set for May 6th. We'll keep you updated. Darian, Melina.
Thanks, Kamarion. The International City of Love is one of the fashion capitals of the world, and it unveils a new summer design. The new design features parts of the original Eiffel Tower on the new 2024 Paris Olympic medals.
Jeweler Maison Chalmé created and designed the medals to reference France's geometric shape. The president of the Paris 2024 Organizing Committee says they married the strongest symbol of the Games, the medal, with the ultimate symbol of Paris, the Eiffel Tower.
OU Nightly meteorologist Braden Seo has one last look at our forecast.
Braden, what else can we expect this week?
Well, ladies, this is our forecast for tomorrow, showing very similar conditions that we've had today. Again, you'll want to take those fire precautions out in western Oklahoma, as we will have some elevated fire danger. And this is a look at the snowfall totals as we go through the weekend. This is through Monday morning with that snowstorm coming in Sunday. You You can see an area of 4 to 8 inches here across western Oklahoma, 2 to 4 inches in the Oklahoma City metro area. And here's one last look at that 7-day forecast showing that winter storm on Sunday and temperatures warming up into next week.
Thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Melina Samir.
And I'm Darian Curry. Be sure to watch OU Nightly live weekdays at 4:30. Good night.